Joe, can you hear me? If you can, I think if you adjust your input volume up a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. Say something one more time. Okay, we're set. Hello, everyone. Great. For everyone who's joining us, I'm Michael Miranda. I'm part of the team for the Coalition Movement Camp, and we've got Joe Solomon of 350.org. I've known Joe for a while in the Net Squared community, and his long activism around wiring the green movement. And let's. So, Joe, you're in Vermont right now, right? So yes, we're here at Movement Camp today doing this global work party because the people at 350.org said, yes, we'd love for Coalition of the Willing to do something. So Tim said, okay, yes, we'll do it. And he said, Michael, how are we going to do it? And can we do it? I've already agreed to do it. So here we are, and in less than 2 weeks, we put together this site, and glitches and all, we know that people really want to be outside and doing something for the climate activism movement, doing something local, something real with people face to face. But we thought it was important to still do something, even if it's just the beginning of a long-term conversation for how the movement can evolve in the direction of the film Coalition of the Willing. So I know you've seen the film, and I'd love to hear your perspective a little bit on how that relates to the online activism that's currently occurring and how it needs to evolve. So I'm firmly with you. I'm firmly with you on the issues of this applying to any movement, any field, and part of the point of us gathering at Movement Camp is people are coming from different fields or from different starting points, and some of the issues we've discussed so far today have to do with, well, when you bump into another group who are working on quite the same thing, how do you hold your own group and your own work in relation to them and in relation to the field? So I wonder if you have any insights on that. Well, let's say you're working on pretty much the same thing, and you. All right, if that's a little confusing, we can just leave that aside. I think I didn't phrase it very well, but the gist of it was earlier that if you're working on something quite hard and you've formed a group around yourselves and you've even got an organization, let's say, and you are either you're aware of others in the field who are doing very similar things, or you bump into them later, how do we hold ourselves in our organizations so that we can start to build real relationships and mutually serve the field? I know this may not be the case perhaps as much in the environmental sector, but in other nonprofit cause-related areas, we sometimes adopt a brand-focused strategy, and we may not even mention other organizations that are doing similar work, who are our peers, because we don't bring attention to them, let's say, but we actually want to celebrate bringing attention to the field and to everyone working in the field, and have a different kind of working together rather than viewing each other as competitors, as we might if we were just doing this as a business, let's say. So that may be a little further away from the online activism, which is we're here really to talk about online activism, because that. Go ahead, please. So one of the questions that we have is that's great. I like that perspective. I like the, first off, it embodies what you're wanting the other party to engage in. Right, so that's great. But let me take one of the questions that's been presented at the chat forum. How can we broaden the concept of activism to include and engage people who don't think of themselves as activists, such as designers, engineers, or entrepreneurs? So we've got this community of hackers and others who, how do they fit in as activists? Do you have any thoughts on that? So maybe you can tell us maybe you can tell us a little bit about your particular role in the 350.org movement. What is your particular work supporting the organization, and yeah, anywhere that you'd like to go from there. So one of the questions that's been posed is, if it doesn't, I'll provoke you with further questions, so you don't have to worry about that. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation anyway, and hopefully we can try other formats other times, and maybe some interviews or particular questions at later dates, since this is just the beginning. Question from Suresh is, does 350.org actively engage in or collaborate with other orgs, and what is your engagement model with other organizations, if that's clear? So you're the social media guy, and yet it seems that the Coalition of the Willing film proposes a new kind of infrastructure where, let's say, in the catalyst portion, I think a lot of this campaign stuff would happen in the catalyst portion of the three parts that are outlined in the film, and we're provoking. If you're provoking or inviting, provoking is the wrong word, inviting other people to take up this campaign with you and to share in it and that take ownership in it too. Right now, as we rely upon third-party provided spaces like Facebook groups or Google groups or any other number of tools, it seems like there's a lot of content and collaboration that is sort of stuck in a space that is not necessarily the best for the long-term capture of content and information that others can build upon easily. It may be great for connecting us initially, but I just want to put that out to you as to how you feel on that. Well, we want effectiveness. We don't want perfection. We want to keep working towards improvement of our internet information action ecology. But I think sometimes there are accidents that happen with the technology, and I think you wrote about it, or one of the people from the not you, one of the people from 350 wrote about a recent one in your email that it went out to the Spanish or other language lists, went out to the English language list. Was that what happened? And so this was actually fortuitous. Maybe could you elaborate? Yeah. Well, it wasn't an important issue. I just thought it was a good story of how a glitch can still be an opportunity for everybody actually learning about your processes and learning about the scope of your organization. And that was the main thing that came out of it. People didn't know how wide this effort was, and I think that's one of the challenges here with the Coalition of the Willing effort. A lot of stuff, we're communicating here in English, but we've actually had translators working for the film to be available in other languages. I'm not sure the status of all that. Tim would have to update us on if any of those have gone live yet or not. But multilingual issues and coordination across different linguistic groups is important here. if you had a wish list of a few things that would make your life easier, that would make your work easier, that would make your work more durable, any of those things, what would you like to see developed? And maybe it's already out there and you're not aware of it, or maybe it's close but it just needs a little push. So So earlier, earlier we were talking about how if a project, if you're already invested in your own project and you bump into another group that's doing similar work, how to deal with that. I think there's the corollary side of someone wants to get involved and and you're talking about this just now, you want to find other people who are interested in the same things, and especially if they're local to you, so you can connect and have, face-to-face interactions and build something locally. But if we see multiple platforms out there and each platform sets up a space so that users can connect to each other who are local or who care about the same issues, but there's umpteen different platforms offering that service, and you check out 5 of them and you connect to a subset of people there, it doesn't mean you find everybody who's local to you or caring about that issue, because these are all separate platforms. If we have means for addressing that, not necessarily that one platform to rule them all and one platform to bind them, but unless that platform's the internet, I think that sort of relates. So the corollary to bumping into other groups that are doing the same work, well, finding other people who are doing the same work, but I'm going to get tired of trying to track 12 different social networking spaces to connect with the people I care about. And if you don't find one that in the space that you're on, you create a little group for it. So there's no one working on community technology in Chicago, so I created a group on Facebook, but I didn't know that there was another space that they could connect. And so it's like I end up, we just need a new way of handling that rather than yet another space in which people engage if there's no interoperability and connection between these spaces. So that's my soapbox, I'm sure. So a moment ago, you were bringing up the issue of mapping, and if NetSquared had a map, and 350.org had a map, and this other group, etc., each have maps of where they're going. I think it'd be valuable to, one, share those maps, two, to have spaces where we engage each other about those maps and mutually refining those maps. And I'd love for Movement Camp to be part of that, or the beginning of that. I mean, that's part of what we were talking about with Suresh earlier. Actually, is what kind of maps are we talking about? There's different senses in which maps would be useful. Some of the road mapping you were describing had to do with a technical roadmap. Well, we'd like to implement these things. Other things is just like, who are the players in the field? Who's out there now? And my map of who's in the field may be different from your map. And even sharing those maps, we both get a better picture of the field. And where do we want the field to go? That's our vision. So we want to share that too. And, well, how do we get from A to B? We got to have some maps between those. So those are three kind of maps right there, and I'm sure there are others. We've already mentioned the coding, development kind of roadmap stuff. So we need to figure out tools and processes to make those public and shared, and I don't have an answer how best to do that. And I suspect there's a lot of people in the audience for whom this conversation now seems to be resonating, that are asking the same questions, and some may have some good ideas for us. And I know you want to get back outside and to your live 350 events. Well, like I said, I know you want to get back out to your live face-to-face activities on the ground. People expect to see you somewhere. So we'll probably close this now, but this is going to be an ongoing conversation between us, and we're going to actually record this and put it, statements out, not just what we've done here, but future statements. This has to be an ongoing conversation, and I want to make sure, I know you'll be a part of it. And there's a lot of thanks. Everyone in the chat room is saying thank you. They are very pleased that you are with us. Thank you, Joe, and we'll be in touch, and be sure to log out when you sign off, okay? So that the next people, we can get them on. All right? Enjoy your time outside. I'll be at the front of the computer all day. Bye.